When Darth Vader hurled Emperor Palpatine to his death on the second Death Star, it was supposed to be the end of the Sith. His body was destroyed, his rule shattered, and the galaxy at last was free. Or so it seemed. Buried in the darkest corners of the galaxy, a far more disturbing truth had already taken root. Palpatine had foreseen his death, and he had planned for it. Now, Palpatine came back to life in both Legends and Canon, in pretty similar ways. Some fans like those stories, most fans seem to hate them, but there is definitely a lot of contention and confusion around how he came back specifically in canon in Episode 9. I think that the movie pretty much shows you everything you need to know in the opening scenes, but whatever, this isn't a commentary video, it's a lore video. So, I want to go over exactly how Palpatine returned after Return of the Jedi. All of this lore is going to be pulled from the canon book Secrets of the Sith, where Palpatine himself narrates the truth behind his resurrection. It's not theories or speculation, just the facts told by Palpatine himself. So I'm sure that we all know Palpatine was seeking the secrets of immortality in his youth with his master Darth Plagueis. By the time that Palpatine became the Dark Lord of the Sith after he killed Plagueis, he believed death was not a fate to be accepted, but a weakness to be conquered. The ancient Sith had studied ways to survive death, to pass their essence from one form to another, and Palpatine learned everything they had to offer. He never saw himself as mortal. To him, death was merely a challenge, one he fully intended to overcome. This wasn't just about preserving his life, it was about ensuring that the Sith Order would never end. It's important to understand that for Palpatine, survival wasn't just about continuation, it was about domination and control. He believed the dark side of the Force was the ultimate path to absolute power, and that such power could be used to cheat even the finality of death itself. In secret, Palpatine established a base of power on the ancient Sith world of Exegol. Located in the unknown regions and hidden from the galaxy, Exegol became the heart of his final contingency plan. Here, deep beneath the surface of the galaxy's awareness, Sith cultists worked day and night to serve their master's will. These cultists, fanatical, loyal, and relentless, formed the foundation of the Sith Eternal. They built temples, machines, and starships. They prepared for a future their Emperor had foreseen, even if the rest of the galaxy believed he was gone. Exegol was more than a hidden sanctuary. It was a world steeped in the dark side, a place where the ancient Sith once walked, where forbidden knowledge was carved into stone and lightning crackled through the sky. For Palpatine, it was the ideal location to stage his return, far from the prying eyes of the galaxy. As the rebels celebrated their victory at Endor, Palpatine's spirit was already racing through the void. In that final moment, as Vader betrayed him and death drew near, Palpatine enacted a ritual taught only to the most powerful of the Sith. While he did technically still die, his soul escaped destruction. His consciousness survived. But that survival came at a cost. Using the power of the dark side and the tools prepared by his cultists, Palpatine's essence was transferred into a new body. It was cloned, forged through Sith science and unnatural Force rituals. But the cloning methods were flawed, and the body was weak. It could not contain the full power of his spirit. This was no ordinary clone. It was designed to be a vessel, a shell that could barely contain the raw, violent energy of the Emperor's true essence. From the moment he entered it, the body began to decay, its cells unable to withstand the torment of Palpatine's dark side presence. What was meant to be a rebirth became a prison. Palpatine's new body was incomplete. Although it lived, it rotted. Though it moved, it suffered. To remain alive, he was bound to mechanical supports and sustained by Sith alchemy. He was no longer the mighty Emperor seated on a throne in Coruscant's palace. He was a shadow of his former self. But even that shadow was dangerous. From Exegol, he began rebuilding. The Sith cultists tended to him, aiding in the search for a stronger vessel, one capable of holding his full power. In the meantime, Palpatine acted through proxies and voices. He still had influence and control. This twisted form of life was a mockery of what he once was, and yet he endured. Every breath he took was powered by hatred. Every moment of pain only deepened his resolve. Although his body was broken, Palpatine's mind remained sharp. He continued manipulating galactic events, working from the shadows through the avatars he controlled. Every whisper of the dark side, every phantom voice, those were echoes of him. Snoke, the mysterious figure who rose to lead the First Order, was one of Palpatine's creations. A genetic puppet twisted and shaped in the labs of Exegol, made to serve as a vessel of influence. Through Snoke, Palpatine could guide young Ben Solo, warp the remains of the Empire, and reshape the galaxy once more in his image. From the moment the Emperor fell, his shadow never truly left. Behind the rise of the First Order, behind the training of Kylo Ren, behind the fear and chaos spreading across the stars, Palpatine was always there. The Dark Lord knew he could not remain in a dying clone body forever. If he was to return fully, he needed a perfect vessel, someone strong in the Force. That someone was supposed to be his son, Dathan, created from strand-cast cloning. However, this clone was not sensitive to the Force at all, but since he carried Palpatine blood, the Dark Lord decided to let him live. And eventually, Palpatine's foresight was rewarded. Dathan had a child named Rey. Born of Palpatine's own lineage, she carried the raw potential he needed. The Sith cultists called her the heir to the throne. Palpatine referred to her as the future. If he could transfer his soul into her body, he would live again, fully and completely as the dark side incarnate. He waited, guiding her journey from afar, and laying a trap. When the time was right, he would lure her to Exegol, not to destroy her, but to possess her. It wasn't just resurrection, it was rebirth through domination. Through his grandchild, Rey, Palpatine would rise not just as a man, but as a living embodiment of Sith power, reborn in a younger, stronger form. Palpatine's return wasn't a trick. It was the culmination of decades of planning, ancient Sith knowledge, and a relentless will to conquer death. He knew he might die, so he made sure that even if his body was destroyed, his power would endure. Through dark science, forbidden rituals, and the fanatical loyalty of the Sith Eternal, the Emperor returned. Not as a ghost or a man, but as something far more terrifying. His return was proof that the dark side of the Force was a pathway to many abilities that some considered to be unnatural. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did, and as always, may the Force be with you.